When you go to open up SketchUp from your Launchpad, it looks like this. The reason why you might have one or two is because we use a rendering program in grade 10 and we don't need it for this, so you can use either models as the rendering program was only supported in one model. So it doesn't matter, okay? So here we go. You have feet, meters, feet, millimeters, centimeters. I recognize we are in Canada, but we are in design class, and therefore we use feet and inches. Here you have the option of the green and blue representing ground and sky, or you can work in gray mode. I like color, so I'm using feet and inches in color. Good? Start using SketchUp. Some things to note about SketchUp. It works on an X, Y, and Z axis, and the person is there to give you a reference point of height. Recognizing if your beehive is way up here, it's probably double the height of an average person, probably much bigger than the 6 feet limit we were provided. So, to move around the screen, you have some keys up here. Pan hand lets you drag the page. The orbit tool lets you orbit around. When you get completely lost, I always hit this return to, and anything that fits into your design returns right to that center point. And you'll see how that makes more sense as we start adding our design, and you'll be able to see. To zoom in, you can use this mouse, this little zoom guy, but on your mouse you can just roll the ball in and out, and you'll be able to zoom in and out, okay? So, my suggestion is always start in the viewpoint you're working in. So, always start bird's eye view, in my idea. So always kind of go above. So that way you know you're looking down at the ground and it's actually going onto the ground. When you click and you go to start drawing, you don't click again to close it. You just click and drag once, and see how it's active. I haven't clicked it to close it because I'm not going to. I'm going to type the measurements into the thing. So let's say the base of my pole is 4 inches by 4 inches. I'm typing 4 inches, comma 4 inches. I haven't clicked on any box to type. It knows I'm referring to the box at the bottom right corner, and I don't even want to move my mouse there because then it's going to set it off. So you don't have to go over there and click. It knows when you have this guy active that as soon as you start typing, it goes to that bottom. To represent the by, you're not using an X because that would be times, you're using a comma. So I have 4 inches, the quotation is the inch, by 4 inches. And then when I hit enter, it makes that lovely 4 inch by 4 inch box. As I said, you're always going to change the viewpoint. So now that I want to extrude it taller, I'm going to go to my extrude guy, and I'm going to select the box. And again, same deal. I'm not going to try and guess the height. I'm going to show the direction I'm going. And then I'm not going to move my mouse again. I'm going to start typing. My thing is 2 feet and 6 inches, which would represent 2.5 feet. But you don't write 2.5. You write 2 feet, 6 inches. Again, 12 inches in a foot, half would be 6 inches. And then it will extrude it to be that 2 feet, 6 inches. So do you see how we're going to start building up our design? And now, this is where you all have very different things. So depending what you have, it's going to be very different next steps. My suggestion is to create the base and extrude up, but you may want to actually create faces on here and extrude in. So it'll all kind of be different viewpoints, but always take the time to move the direction you're going so that you don't run into headaches. Also, something that's really helpful sometimes is markers, because I know that I want my thing to start out in the distance. So I'm just going to show you the top there so we can see that I'm working on the top surface, okay? And I'm going to show you how markers work. Markers are here with a measuring tape, and you can say how far out a line needs to go. So if we know that this is 3 feet, but I know it extrudes from my pole foot and another foot, so I can say that it extrudes 12 inches out, and it creates a marker. And then from this side, it extrudes 12 inches out. So I'm starting to create that reference point, so when I go to make my box, that it actually has that correct distance. Does that make sense? Because now when I go to draw, I can click right on that point, and draw it across. And I could do the same thing for the forward and backwards. I'm going to hit escape to close that. If I know it overhangs forward, let's say it overhangs forward 3 inches, and it overhangs over the back 3 inches. Okay? I'm now able to create this parameter here because I know exactly that it's across this line here, representing. And if you see, it does kind of go over like it did here. You can easily select the lines and actually click and move them. I zoom in for you. Click and then select with the move tool and move that line to line up. So it's okay if you ever see. And sometimes zooming in makes it click less. If you're like this and it's snapping, you're able to turn off your snap tool under the model info and turn off snapping units. So that was window, model info, units, turn off, and you can do that with your angle lines too. And then that should be less frustrating. I say should be. There we go. So I have the base. Now, if you want to extrude this guy, note that, just already on something else. If you select it, see how it only selects that, not that. So if I extrude it, it's only going to extrude that. If you don't want that, you have to remove lines. This is what the eraser for. The eraser is not for erasing shapes. It's solely for erasing surfaces or line fragments. Ruler lines, it doesn't read. Those were just there to help you, guide you, all that jazz. Now, I'm able to bring this house up, and let's say my house is another 2 feet 6 inches into the air. I'm able to bring that up. This is where if you start having some intricate designs, you're able to start seeing what you could create with it. So for example, if you have rounded edges, you could create an arc to represent that you have an edge. That's a very big arc that goes, across. So you could create different arcs. You could also create triangular corners. I'm going to try and do a nice small one for you here. See if it likes this. Hello, nice and small. Clearly not the arc tool I want. Let's try 2-point arc instead and see if that likes us better. There we go. So let's say you have an arc like this. You can then use that push-pull tool and push that guy off and have those rounded edges. So if you have rounded edges, same deal. You could just use the line tool and represent those triangular lines. But this is where the measure tool comes very handy. Let's say you know from the very edge of your surface to where the top of your arc point is that it's 6 inches in. That's when I would actually use this measuring tool and say 6 inches to create a marker. And you know that it's 6 inches down. Always create your markers, because now I have these 2 lovely dots that say there is that space I need. And now when I go to use the push-pull tool, I have that frame that kind of cuts it away properly. Okay? For those who are creating indentations, same deal. You have to create your design. So if you have a certain shape, you can use something like this. A lot of you guys have polygons and hexagons. You can create your shape, right? And then from there, if you want to have the solid shape stay forward, but you want to show that the shape is separate, you're going to use what's called the offset tool. On the offset tool. Offset, perfect. And you're able to actually see offset. And same deal, it offsets 1 inch. I can say 1 inch, okay? And this is real size measurements that a designer could use. So think about what the actual measurements are going to be before you start using them. Again, same deal, start pulling in the direction. I know it goes in 4 inches and it creates that offset into the design. And when you start doing all those lovely little holes that you're going to be creating, you can create your measurement by just clicking a hole and then saying it's only 2 centimeters. Clearly not 2 centimeters. 0.2 what of an inch? 0.5 of an inch. And then from there, you'll be able to intrude those guys. Same deal, however far, let's say it goes 4 inches in. Okay, so you're able to start recreating all your shapes. To copy and paste something, you have to select the whole thing. So if you have this circle and you want to copy and paste it, you have to make sure you go over the whole thing. And if you multiple select, you can unselect by clicking. See, grab some more things. But you need to have the whole outline selected, not just a part of it. And if you don't go over the whole thing, it doesn't do that. Then when you're able to copy and paste, Command C, Command V, it will recreate it for you. I like when things go crazy. So, Command C, Command V, and then I have another one. And I can put that one wherever I so choose, and then paste again and have another one. Command V again and have another one. So you see how you're starting to actually come in with all your lovely little holes? Okay. Same deal. You can intrude them all at the same time by selecting multiples. I like when things go funky. Click, edit, redo, edit, there we go, okay. So you should be able to edit, redo, click them in on multiples, and then when you go to use the push-pull tool, I will figure out why that's not grouping for us. 4 inches and 4 inches. Clearly always move the direction first. Okay, I'll figure out the grouping for us in a sec. So last thing I want to show you quickly is the paint tool. Paint bucket tool always defaults to color. Clearly we're not just adding colors, we're adding materials. So think about what material you're adding. You have a list of materials available to you here. If you find that you want something more specific, you can actually import a swatch, add a new texture, and then if you have that picture saved, you can grab a picture from here. I don't think I have any pictures of material. Look, I have X-Men. Okay, but let's say, see, you say how big that tile is, and then when you go to select it, it'll actually apply that material. So just to show you different things, you can apply wonky materials. So from there, if I have something that's stone, I could grab my stone, I could grab my material, and I could start saying that's stone, whatever it may be, okay? So you get to be creative with your materials. But again, if they don't have the one you're looking for, you can import a swatch. Same deal, you can color it. So that's a basic wood, but if the color is not really the color you're looking for, you can double click it and you can start mixing the color for you. Oh, I say too much and then I get stuck in it. Give me a second with that one too. Okay. You can change the hue, but I might need a second to figure out where that was again. Okay. Either way. There we go. Oh, you can... When you get frustrated. Thank you, sucker. I'm off of the sucker. Ha! There we go. You can suck up a color. From clearly not that, but from clearly or something else. Now I'm just getting frustrated. Grab your paint bucket, apply your material. In the end, you will have your beautiful, created Beehive Hotel. I will get to us about the grouping and why that was being silly. But there we go. Oh, those weren't intruded, that's why. And so we'll talk more about that. But if you have specific questions too, we can. Oh, and as you notice, something happened down here, or as I've noticed, when we deleted the top, something about our sides got disappeared and became translucent. To fix that, if that ever happens, which it does happen, it's a computer, it does what it likes sometimes, you can easily re-click your corners and it will add your surface again, okay? So you just gotta make sure that you're zoomed in at the right angle, and then you'll be able to click from tool, add a surface from that corner to that corner, and it will re-add it, grab your paint bucket, and you're able to add your supply, okay? As you can see, what was this? Couple minutes, 5 minutes, and I went through the whole basic tools you may want to use do. If you have more questions, I will happily show you, but those are some good starting points. All right, good luck.